Good morning. Welcome to Visionary Aging. I'm Mary Winters, gerontologist and owner of About Senior Solutions. We put this show together so that you would have resources in how to plan and have your best life ever, no matter what your age is. And we plan weddings, we plan retirement, vacation, and all sorts of things. It's really, it's time for you to plan the best life that you want. So we're here to empower you. We are kind of like a hub or the conductor of the orchestra, or maybe you could consider us the quarterback. It is Super Bowl coming up. The quarterback of the football team, because what we do is we look at all the resources, put things together for you, create that plan, tailor it just for your interests, how to keep you safe, and how to manage that within your financial budget too. So today we have a really great program. We have a caregiver question from Steve McCullough. It's related to when are you able to take over mom and dad's accounts? And we have Melinda with us today. She's going to answer some great nutrition questions. And we have Noma Kaz on, and she is from Lifeline Companion Services. She's going to talk about that right fit and why they even call themselves companion services, where so many others call themselves home care. So I find that really interesting also. We have a great 100th birthday. We have Cami Keller's birthday, and she wants you to get some cards out to her. So get ready to write down her address because they're looking forward to you sending cards out to her. So let's go on to, I think we'll go on to Cami actually. I don't think Steve's on with us yet. He's not quite with us. So I think we're going to talk a little bit about Cami. Let's see, here we go. There we go. Cami Keller is celebrating her 100th birthday on February 1st. So we have some time to get some things out to her. She is a lifelong resident of West Unity, Ohio, and she currently resides over at Hillside Country Living. Carmi is the mother of John, and his wife is Sharon Keller, Brian, and she has sisters and a brother. I can't believe that. That's incredible. So please shower her with lots of love and cards for her birthday. She is over again, write this down, over at Hillside Country Living at 09876 Country Road 16. And she's in room 806 at Bryan, Ohio, at 43506. So get those cards out to her. You can always call the office at 626-359-0108, and we can give you Carmi's information. So I hope you have a fantastic birthday. You deserve it. And we hope to be able to celebrate you as well. We'll get a card out to you as well. So here we go. Let's see what we have coming up next. So you saw that little piece there. We have a life enhancement program. Diana is the lead on that at our office. And if you're looking for your loved one to have some one-to-one activity, whether they're in a community or whether they're at home alone or with care, we want to make sure that they're living their best life ever. So we have a life enhancement program that we call Shape Up 7. There's 7 measures within the research that I put together that support your longevity. And we go through each of those items to make sure that you are supported in those areas and that you're thriving and enjoying. And I think the biggest thing is connection. We are meant and designed to be connected. And without those connections, we lose something. We can become depressed. We can have shorter life expectancies. We know that through research. Actually, I think they say that 15 cigarettes is equal to a day of smoking 15 cigarettes is equal to a day of isolation. So I don't think we like smoking necessarily. Let's not like being alone either. So in any event, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our fantastic guest today. Noma Kaz is with Lifeline Companion Services, and she has been in business quite a few years. I'm going to go ahead and let her talk a little bit about her business and what she does. We've been very lucky to have their services that we use with our clients, because remember, we're not everything. We rely on great people like Noma to be able to provide services and specific things that we need for our clients. Welcome, Noma. How are you today?
I am fine. Thank you for inviting me to join you on this amazing podcast. We have been watching you over the time and really gleaning a lot of information that we pass along to our clients. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a
So
village. It takes a village,
it
right?
is a village, absolutely. So in 2005, my partner Sherry Litt and I decided that it was time to change careers and move into an area that we felt very passionate about. We wanted to help the senior population have choices and meet challenges and have resources for what you need as you start to age. I found out with my own parents that when they started to age, I didn't understand exactly what those changes meant, when
Mm-hmm.
to take away the car keys, when to take over finances, when to have somebody come in and help them because they no longer did what they needed to do in order to stay safe. So in 2005, we are now starting our 18th year serving communities in the Los Angeles and San Fernando Valley areas. And we are so happy to be here and kind of share some of our experiences and some of our stories because we have many of them.
Yes, and I think a lot of people go into senior services because they've had a bad experience or something that they really want to support
Right.
that's very individualized or unique in the industry. And it's kind of interesting as you're talking about your initial experience. Now you've done it thousands of times.
Thousands.
And so obviously we become experts as we do things over and over and over again. And that rich history and the interaction that you've had with your clients over the years has just developed such a great ability for you to recognize what somebody really needs support with too. Share a little bit about kind of the evolution of your company. You've been around quite a while. You have a fantastic reputation. We really enjoy
Thank you.
working with you, and you collaborate so beautifully when we have questions about, let's see, can we do this better? Can we change this up? Or let's talk with the caregiver and see, or actually, you don't call them caregivers, you call them companions, which I
Yeah.
love. We could talk about that too. But let's see what we can do to help each other, to help the person that we're caring for. And I love that collaboration from your office. Everyone in your office is so collaborative. And it just tells me that you care. And you're open.
Well, let me just have a shout out to our staff. Our staff really, they are incredible. 24/7. And when I say that, a lot of companies may say that we really are 24/7. We are committed, each and every one of us. Our staff has been with us some over a decade. So you know that they have a certain heart that has to go along with being part of this business, because it does take a lot of time, a lot of patience. So the reason we decided to call it companion services rather than home care is that I think the definition of the services that are being provided can be misconstrued.
Mhm.
So if you only call it home care, there's an assumption that there's something wrong with the person who needs it.
Mhm.
Automatically, you're incapable of taking care of yourself. We don't trust you any longer. We're afraid for you. But that's not always the case.
Right.
Often we get called in because mom or dad could use a little support when they are at home, doing some tasks, or maybe their driving isn't as great as it used to be, and they want somebody to drive them and, and take care of them. But also for socialization.
Mhm.
Socialization is a very big part of the companionship. It's
Yes.
not just assisting with what we call ADLs, which is activities of daily living, which is
Mhm.
bathing, all of the normal, but it's about connecting, and a companion connects. They're not like a nurse who does their job and for medical, or they're not like maybe somebody, even in an assisted living community, often there's a lot of socialization, but maybe not the one-on-one connection that you really do need. So that's why we started with that. And of course, our services range from companionship to end stage care, and where we work with hospice, and we work with people like yourselves who are, taking people through the entire journey of what aging is. So
Right, and it's different for everyone, and I think even if you think about, I don't know, you have a knee replacement, it doesn't even matter what age you are,
exactly.
you just need that companion, that help to support you with whatever that might be, but I think in regards to the emotional connection to the senior, the older adult that might be getting that help, I think mentally we want to make sure that they feel really good about moving forward with something that's foreign to them, that's upsetting to them. They already have all this extra loss. Maybe they've lost a spouse, so they need someone from your services to come in. So many changes and often so resistant. And let's think about the stages in our own lives when we had to go into a new environment, or you had a new babysitter for your children. And it's like, oh my gosh, I don't really like this idea. It is our job, and you do such a beautiful job in making people feel comfortable with that step and inviting your companions into their home and make sure that they feel supported, and there's an immediate trust and bond that they are able to develop with the companions too.
I sometimes equate it to dating.
Yeah.
And, not every date is going to be the perfect one, but the goal is to find the connection. And that's our job. Our
Yep.
job is to make sure that the person that we introduce to our clients, there is a connection, on many levels, whether it's compassionate, or whether they may have common interests that there's a relationship. And once you know that there's a relationship and there's some trust that is built based on the fact that you feel safe
Yeah.
talking and being, then the activities of daily living, they get done anyway. But
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it goes much broader than
Yeah.
that. I wanted to,
No,
if I may, share
sure.
a client story.
Absolutely.
I have two that come to mind. My first one was Dr. C. Dr. C, a female, was came from Europe, and she was a wonderful psychologist, and she had a European attitude towards life and freedom, and she loved her men. She did. She was married many times, and as she started to age, her third husband was getting ill and passed away. And she
Hmm.
realized at that point that she really doesn't like to be living alone, and she could use some help. So we connected, and she wanted a young, vibrant male companion who understood the her lifestyle. And we found a gentleman who was going to school in Europe to become a nurse, and he
Oh.
understood the European way of life, and he was perfect. He eventually worked days and then many hours, and when necessary, he became a live-in caregiver. He stayed with her until she passed away, and she died in his arms
Oh.
10 years later.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it was a beautiful experience for her family, knowing he was safe, she was safe, and they trusted him. And so that's what I say. There has to be a connection. There has to be
Mhm.
a reason why it works.
Absolutely.
There's many stories like that. We have many clients that have been with us for 6, 8, 10, 12 years. And because they live a better life, a safer
Mhm.
life. The
Mhm.
family lives a better life because they're not as
Not worried.
worried. Yeah.
So scary when you know your parents. I think people just have to close their eyes and just pray that their loved one is okay when they're resisting care, and when they know that things are not really in shape for them to be on their own. So we have a you have some other really interesting cases, or I, I don't know. We have, when we deal with legal matters, we call them cases. When we have our clients, our families, you have other families that you've worked with that you've had some really dear stories. I know there's another one that you
There is
worked for a
another one.
really long time.
There is another one. We were called in to assist a family. It was a couple, and I'll call them Mr. and Mrs. L. And the husband was having a few difficulties. He wasn't able to be as attentive to his wife in her early 80s as he wanted to be. So we were brought in to assist him, and that was very short lived. And he realized when we were caring for him, and he improved, that it was valuable for his wife.
Mm.
So we came in as companions for now the husband and the wife. And for 12 years, 24/7, we were there. We were part of the evolution of their aging. Um, the relationship that was built not only with the client but with the family was amazing. And another situation where, as she just started to decline, the caregivers really stepped up to be with her to
Mm.
the point where every possible need she had, every possible, concern that the families had, we were there, and their caregivers were there, but we were there all the time. And
Wonderful.
the relationship continued to build, and she died 12 years later. I think I
Mm.
calculated it was over 4,000 consecutive days that we were in her home, and
Wow.
you can't say that. No family member has ever done that or could ever
Right.
do that. And
Yeah.
after over 4,000 days, again, she died peacefully, surrounded by her loving caregivers. And we were able to celebrate her at her memorial, as did her caregivers, and it was beautiful. I have to.
Oh, that's
It was
special.
a beautiful story.
That's special. We're talking with Noma Kaz. She's with Lifeline Companion Services, and I have her information scrolling. So if you're listening and you don't see that, I'm going to have Noma share how to get a hold of her.
Yes,
So tell
well,
us.
we are on the web at lifelinecompanionservices.com. Again, the company is Lifeline Companion Services. Our offices are in Burbank. However, we cover a large territory of services throughout the Los Angeles area, the San Fernando Valley area, from Pasadena all the way to Calabasas. So we have been around, as I said, starting our 18th year, and
Congratulations.
we're
That's
pretty accessible.
fantastic.
So all you have to do is type in our name, and we'll come up.
And I think the thing that's so interesting too is there have been a lot of changes, especially since 2015, in the area of home caregiving. And I applaud you for thriving and growing. And I think that's where you know that you're kind of the cream at the top. There were so many other agencies that folded because they couldn't figure out how to employ their caregivers versus having them as 1099s when that whole thing changed. And then they had really live-in was more or less eliminated unless there was a different rate that was charged for overtime and so forth. And I just applaud you for pivoting with all those changes and really being a leader in that area to not just survive but thrive and really support the clients. It tells me that you really do a great job with your
Oh,
clients.
thank you. That's very kind. Well, we're trying to educate the community on the concerns that we have with going independent with caregivers. California has been very, very clear that caregivers now fall under wage and hour requirements for overtime, for
Mhm.
breaks, for live-in. And unfortunately, if you don't meet those, if you choose to go independently, you're the employer and you become, responsible for any problems that could happen, whether it's workers' comp or somebody's injured, or even after, unfortunately, after several, many cases, and it's litigious cases are happening more and more,
Yeah.
for underpaid caregivers who
Right.
don't meet the requirements. So
Right.
we're educating. It's important.
It is important. We have so many cases where we'll come in and kind of analyze the care and support and what kind of tasks were they doing. And sometimes they get those $1.5 million lawsuits down to 400,000. But that's painful. That's a heavy hit for a family to have to incur when, if they just knew what the laws are and stayed within that frame, or oftentimes we trust people and you hear somebody say, oh, it's okay, but you have to follow the law. And if somebody has the right as an employee to turn around and report something that wasn't appropriate. And I think there are also people who try to reach out and find those people to create chaos and lawsuits too, which is also really too bad. And nobody wants to be taken advantage of or take advantage of another person. But if you're not in this area and you don't know what the rules or laws are of employment, then you really can get in a lot of trouble.
You can, if you have time, I'll give you an example. You have an
Sure.
example? Okay. So we have a client who was living actually quite independently in a very nice home, and she had a caregiver who was working several hours a day, one of our employees, and the caregiver took out the was getting rid of the trash one day and took the trash out to a public receptacle that was in the complex, and
Mm.
the receptacle was quite full. So the caregiver took her foot and she pushed the trash that she was holding into the receptacle. She fell back. She broke her arm,
Oh no.
and ultimately sued the complex and got workers' compensation. The client did not have to pay a dime.
Mm.
Responsibility for all of that.
Wow.
Very important, when you go to an agency, that the client is protected, not only with regard to the care, but regard to any injury that could happen to the caregiver.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So those
Well,
are
Noma, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate your expertise. We've always appreciated your team, and you have a fantastic weekend, and we'll come on and share some more stories in the future.
I'd be happy to, and Happy New Year again to you, and a good year for everybody for 2023.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. And I love her services. There are some agencies that we love working with because they're so collaborative. They want to think above and beyond what the regular agency might think of. And it's important because that means your quality of life is enhanced when you have really good services around you. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to bring in our Melinda and see what kind of little support she has to offer us today. Here we go. Good morning. How are you? Oops, I still have you muted. There you are. There you go.
Hey, good morning.
Yeah.
Wow,
So,
what a fabulous guest.
yes, wonderful. She really, and I'm telling you, we have had some really challenging, oftentimes not the client challenging, it's the family environment, we have abuse cases that we deal with people that kind of storm in and do some really awful things that we're trying to protect our seniors from. And their agency has done such a beautiful job with that. Just so
That's
pleased.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah, anytime you
absolutely.
add more people to the mix, there's more things that can happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what kind of tidbit do you have for us today?
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about my favorite way of adding protein into the
Oh,
diet
good.
if
Oh, good.
somebody, especially if somebody has lost their appetite. Um,
Oh, good one. Yeah.
and that's with bone broth. It is so,
Oh.
so good, especially as we age.
Hmm.
The amino acids in bone broth are really important for bone density. The gelatin that a bone
Yes.
broth, contains is amazing for gut health. It helps with mobility through the gut. So if people are stopped up or having problems with digestion,
Interesting.
it can really aid that. It's amazing for immune function. So it's
Huh.
just it's just protect like the amino acids in bone broth are pretty protective to the immune system and to the gut and the immune system that lies in the gut. The gelatin, of course, and the collagen that's derived from bone broth is amazing for joint health,
Hmm.
for tendon health. So, definitely things, all those aches and pains, really, really good for that. The amino acids in bone broth promote sleep and they help us rid the body
Didn't
of
know that.
toxic heavy metals, which can be
Really?
which can impact neurological function. So, just all around, bone broth is a really great addition to the diet, especially as we age, and especially if there's been a loss of appetite. A lot of times, when someone loses their appetite, they're able to easily get enough carbohydrates and fats into their diet, but
Uh-huh.
proteins can be difficult.
It is. It is. Sometimes we'll, and it depends on how much they're willing to have, but we'll make date shakes with lots of avocado and
Yeah.
coconut oil and some of those things too. But I love that idea. And I like the taste. It's so savory too, bone broth.
Yeah, it really, most people like the taste. It's
Hmm.
delicious, and it's easy to prepare. If you get a really, the one thing I will say is you want to investigate what company you purchase bone broth from. You want to get bone broth from healthy animals. So as long as it's a nice quality, healthy animals were used to make the bone broth, it's so health promoting, so many vitamins and minerals, but then also really easy to prepare. Just heating up
Yeah.
on the stove top. You can pop it in the microwave. I prefer stove top,
Yeah. Me
but
too.
uh, you know, pretty simple. So.
So are there locations or specific brands that you really enjoy using?
It's been a long time and the brands kind of shift. I'll have to look something up and write it
Sure.
in the comments under this thread. But really, what you're looking for, I think you can get high quality bone broths at like Erewhon or Whole Foods. What you're looking for is animals that were grass fed, so that the animal is just a lot healthier. When we eat animals, when we eat plants, the health that we derive from those plants and animals are directly correlate to the health of those plants and animals. So
Sure.
if we're, feeding the animals poor quality foods, those animals aren't as healthy and then aren't as nutritious for us when we end up consuming them. And same thing with the vegetables that we eat. If we're growing the vegetables in poor conditions, that's why the health of our planet is so important to us, to the health of our bodies. Is the
Yeah.
nutrition that we get from that planet is going directly into our bodies. So
Right.
we're all one.
Amazing. That is it is. I mean, we're meant to be connected. We need rain and we need sun and we need
Yep.
we need all of those things. All those connections need to happen. Um, we need to be connected as people. We need to eat. We need to eat quality food. We need to be able to enjoy meals with friends. And anyway, I
Yep.
could go on with the little connections. We did that last week, but this is a great idea. I love this idea. And I even have friends who make their own bone broth too by letting it.
Yeah.
And I think there's some great Korean restaurants that do a lot with bone broth as well. Big tradition in that culture. And I love that idea because I think anyway, I love it. I love the idea of the protein. I love the idea of what it does. I did not know that it had those qualities for gut health. I knew that it had the collagen and does help with joint issues sometimes too. But I didn't know how well rounded that was. That's great.
Yeah, I'll have to look for brands for everyone. I was just trying to do a quick search, and you just really have to look into them because, like I said, the biggest thing is the health of the animal. And some companies, that's something that they really care about, while
Mhm.
others, it's not, maybe not their highest priority. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's see what we have on for our perk today. We have, it looks like it might be Penguin Day. Let's see. I always
ooh,
act so surprised. I don't look at it in advance. So it is, it's Penguin Awareness Day. Remember when the movie came out, the sweet movie, and everybody was very
yeah.
interested in penguins. So we have our pun today is penguins make decisions by flipping a coin. And then we have a great word search too. I love that. Look at, love the way you waddle. So great word search today. So please feel free to reach out, and Ginny will get the perk out to you if you are interested. But you can call us at 626-359-0108, or just reach out to our website and inquire to have this sent out, and that's aboutseniorsolutions.com, and we'll get the perk out to you for free, and you can share that with whomever you like. So we want to make sure that people are having fun and enjoying a little activity together.
This is the bone broth I just recommended to a client. It's
Oh, great.
actually made by Erewhon.
I'm gonna put you
But
down there.
that's the one that I just recommended to a client because it's very high quality.
Show it one
But
more time. Show it one
oh
more
yeah,
time.
but there's definitely, I don't know if the
Nice.
words are opposite. They make it in house at Erewhon, so that's the one that I just recommended for a client
Okay.
to it, because that's very high quality. But they do. It looks like they have. We would have to look into some of these brands just to see, but it looks like one of the brands, Kettle and Fire. I know that
Uh-huh.
that's a pretty good company. There's another company called Epic Provisions, or Epic, and then Bare Bones is another one, and those are
Interesting.
being sold at Erewhon, and this is like on Instacart. So those would be the brands I would look into, um,
Fantastic.
and yeah.
Okay, great. Well, I think Noma is still with us. I'm going to bring her back, and we're just going to say goodbye really quick, and wish everybody a good weekend. So let me go ahead and we'll just say hi and bye with Noma. And Noma, thanks so much for being on with us today. And I don't know if you could hear Melinda's tip, but I thought it was fantastic. The idea of using bone broth to add protein to our older adults diets. There's so many benefits to it. So in any event, thank you so much, ladies, for being on today. I really appreciate the information, and this is what keeps us rolling. We have to make sure that we provide these resources and support and kindness to people who really need it out there. So I appreciate it. Oops, I still have her. She's okay? You're unmuted now.
Thank you, Mary, for all you do, because we can't do our job unless we have partners like you to help us, on a day-to-day basis and as needed. So just back at you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.